This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a daily combat sports news update. The final Smackdown of the WWE Thunderdome era was a 0.45 rating. So that was up from the 0.4 the previous week, which was the record low for SmackDown on Fox. It's also interesting to note that Jimmy Uso did appear on SmackDown and was featured heavily on the show despite his DUI arrest from earlier in the week. So it appears that they're going to keep him on TV for at least the time being. His last DUI arrest, which he ended up being found not guilty for, they did take him off TV for about 6 months. Last night's UFC 264 pay-per-view appeared to have massive interest. There was just under 12 million Google searches for the pay-per-view, which was pointed out in the Wrestling Observer that UFC normally does about 5 million Google searches. And recently, there have been some WWE pay-per-views that haven't even done 1 million Google searches. And I watched a lot of the pre-fight promos leading up to that pay-per-view, as well as some of the post-fight stuff. And the promos in MMA are just so much better than the promos in wrestling these days. It's incomparable how much better the MMA promos are. So I can certainly see why that pay-per-view did so well. And for the people that say McGregor's done, he's still probably the top drawing fighter in the UFC. So fighting is a business. It's all about making money. I'm sure he's probably already getting his injured tibia fixed right now from the very best doctors in the world. Lord knows the UFC can afford to get him the best doctors in the world, and I'm sure they'll do everything in his power to have him back, as he's their top drawing fighter. Apparently Lance Storm says AEW is his favorite wrestling show. It is noteworthy that apparently he helps AEW Canadian talent get work visas for the U.S. That's my understanding. So he does have a bit of a vested interest in AEW. I did mention on Saturday, on my update Saturday morning, that it was my 20-year anniversary as a professional wrestler. July 9th, 2001 was my first match for the Mat Rats promotion. And some people wanted to know some of the other wrestlers that were involved. Well, TJ Wilson was in Mat Rats. Ted Hart, who I guess I can say I've known for 20 years now, he was in Mat Rats. Rene Dupree, who pointed out to me when I found this picture of him from 20 years ago, he looks pretty much the same as he does today. He was jacked. I think he might even have been bigger when he was 17. And no wonder WWE signed him when he was 19. But he pointed out that his Mat Rats check was bounced. I don't think any of us were actually paid for Mat Rats. Randy Myers, who went on to be Defy champion, and he was actually signed by WWE at the same camp I was signed from. But at that time, they wouldn't allow you to have weed in their system. And he had traces of weed in his system, which unfortunately screwed over his contract, but he could have been a WWE star too, in my opinion. Natalya, she was in Mat Rats. Natalya's sister, Muffy, was in it. Muffy Neidhart. Jack Evans. Harry, the British Bulldog Smith. And none other than Rick Victor, who went on to be in the Ascension. So quite a crew of people. And the guy that was running Mat Rats, who had hired Eric Bischoff to be part of it, was a guy named Graham Owens, who in 2006 was arrested for his involvement in a drug smuggling operation that used small planes to ferry illegal drugs between Alberta and Montana. And at the end of this 9-month Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigation that was dubbed Project Idea, they seized $5.2 million worth of drugs, including 500 kilograms of marijuana, 30 kilograms of cocaine, 900 tablets of diazepam, 210 vials of ketamine. They also grabbed a Smith Aerostar 601 twin engine airplane valued at $200,000. And I believe Graham spent about 10 years in jail related to that. So, yeah, he was making all that money drug smuggling, but he didn't pay a bunch of teenagers for their involvement in mat rats, which ended up going nowhere. You could add that to the list of Bischoff's failed projects. Mike D, missing Piper. She's down here in her favorite spot under my desk. So there you go, Mike. Piper will come up to say hi. Lindsay is excited for WWE to go back on tour. Colonel Quayle says Jim Uso can do anything. They won't fire him. Joe says Roman Reigns is getting the push of a lifetime. And this guy who's Roman Reigns' cousin is getting a DUI. Orlo says WWE didn't do Thunderdome the whole time during COVID. No, they were at the Performance Center with no Thunderdome for the first part. They could have had events, though, for a long time in front of fans now. I mean, they've been running events in Texas pretty much during this whole pandemic, maybe with the exception of a month or two, other wrestling companies. So Florida and Texas have been able to have fans for a long time. I mean, they had fans at WrestleMania in Florida. It's been their choice to not have fans. Mike D talking about Piper again. She's right here. Naval Sailor saying hello. Matt R. Oh my God. I'm not going to comment on that. I don't even remember if I'm the one that wrote those bio informations. Beater Carr says Renee looking Xbox huge there. Yeah, I think he was bigger when he was a teenager than he is now, and I believe he was Mr. Canada. So it's no wonder WWE hired them. Alex said, how long did it take for me to come up with a wrestling gimmick? Well, it was Luke Williams that gave me the Hannibal gimmick when I went to Puerto Rico in 2005. And that was the one that I kept. So I guess 4 years till I got the gimmick that I liked. I had been given other gimmicks before that I did not like and wasn't comfortable doing. Scott says, I don't know what he means by that. Al Hirschman, Tammy is looking for co-stars for her only fan page. Oh my God. Dusan watching. Cody. Mike, I'm hoping that his intentions are pure with Piper. He seemed like a good enough guy. So yeah, that's pretty much the news. Trevor C says Natalia's still decent looking. She looks great. I think pretty much everyone from Mat Rats still looks good, to be honest. By the way, with this new stage 3 that Ontario's entering, it looks like I'm going to be allowed to put on a Great North Wrestling event in front of fans in Ontario in September. and I'm on it right now, working on it. And I hope to have some official confirmation on this event by sometime next week. Walter says WWE is now on the road. Yeah, it is back on the road starting next week. Raw Thunderdome is taped. It's already been taped, coming up this weekend. But next week, Raw will, the week after next week, Raw will be in front of fans, and Raw is going to be in front of fans next weekend. SmackDown, it's in Texas next weekend. And all next weekend, they're going to be in Texas. So there you go. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I'm going to have my dinner now and work out later. Gyms in Ontario here finally open next Friday. I'm excited about that. So talk to you guys later.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99